Are we even using the same app? What do you mean some of y'all are married and you met them on the same app I'm using? Okay, before I receive some sort of a backlash for the title, just a little bit as a disclaimer, whatever I'm about to say or like whatever my opinion on is solely based on my own experience, and 98% of the time of the things that I will be talking about, the experiences are from dating apps. And I know like dating apps is not the best place to look for a man, but like I said, this is my own experience. So just a disclaimer, this isn't some sort of like a gender war, or like, I know it's not all men, but like I said, these are the people that I experienced from my own experience, which are from dating apps. So I was racking my brain on what I should talk about in my next video, and I even like posted an Instagram story asking like my friends if they want me to talk about something, and one of my friends replied like something related to dating apps. I don't remember what she said. Maybe I'll put it here. Yeah, so I guess this is included. And also, this idea just came to me. So earlier today, I was talking to this man. We just matched. And I was like, hi. And then he's like, hi, Najwa. And then I'm like, oh, how's it going? And then he replied, nothing. You? So that was very painful for me, because like, what is going on? Why do you sound like a truck just hit your cat? Why do you sound like my cats are much more interesting? To say that it's like I'm talking to a wall is an understatement. It's just absolutely painful. I don't know why. It's already painful enough to be on dating apps, and having to deal with that conversation is just... And I know he did ask me back lah, like, you. But like, just nothing. You? So I tried and I replied like, oh, nothing much. I'm just like doing my work. And then like, I didn't blabber on. I just like gave a little bit more answer lah compared to him. And then that's when he started to like talk more. So I'm like, oh, okay, so it's going well. And then the conversation continued, a few more chats. And then I was like, oh, are you from like this place? Because he was studying. I know, that's like, at my old age, should I really be talking to someone that is still studying? Not that it is something wrong. Like studying is really, there's nothing wrong with studying, but like the wavelength is different, which is, it is not for me to judge. But I've had experiences talking to people who were still studying while I was working. But then again, this is just like the start of the conversation, so it really didn't matter. He told me that he was studying here, and then I was like, oh, are you from there? He said like, oh no, I'm from here, but I only study here. And I'm like, okay, are you gonna ask me back? I don't know if I sound narcissistic, but what do you want me to say to that? I'm from here, but I'm studying here. I reply like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then he said, yeah, that's about it. I could have been the bigger person and like continued the conversation, but why should I? Why didn't you ask me where I was from? You know? But anyways, that conversation sparked my idea for today's topic. And mind you, I'm recording this during my lunch hour because I don't want to lose the information or the details or like the motivation to do this video, because I was really like, I didn't know what to talk about. So I guess now we have a topic. My question is, why are some men nowadays so boring? Again, disclaimer, from dating apps. I'm sure like, yeah, some people are just not like a texting kind of person. Then why are you there? texting is like the foundation of like dating apps, you know? If you are not able to continue a conversation or at least put a little bit of effort, why are you there? And I know some of y'all would answer like, oh, like they're just there for like the casual stuff and so on. But like, what is your move here? I mean, I'm not there casually, obviously. But what is your move? With your dry response, do you get girls? Genuine question. I am not shaming anyone. If you want to be there casually, go ahead. It's not for me. On my profile, it says that. So if you want to be there casually and you still swipe right on me, then that's on you, to be honest. Because what I've noticed, or at least what I've experienced, for those of you who don't know, so on your profile on dating apps, you can put like what you're looking for. There are a few options like long-term relationships, short-term relationships, intimacy without commitment. What I've experienced personally is that they would put there like long-term relationships, but when you talk to them, it's just immediately like you can tell that he's just there casually. Yeah, as I was saying, like these boring men, even if you're there casually, by being boring, get you girls. The thing is with me is that I am the type to usually to reciprocate the energy of the other person, whether it's online or offline. Let's say you are an introvert and we would meet up. If you are an introvert, I would be an introvert. I would try break the ice, but if I see zero effort coming from you, then I would immediately clam up as well. I wouldn't call myself an introvert, but I do have trouble like coming up with conversations as well. But I feel like if the both of us at least pitch in the conversation, I wouldn't have an issue. Because by nature, I am a yapper. The minute we click or the minute the ice is broken, I would have no issue with the conversations. But you would have to be the same lah. One more thing that I also noticed, if y'all didn't notice, the term nonchalant is somehow trending. Some of y'all learned a new word and y'all cannot stop using it. Which is, there's nothing wrong with it lah, by right. But nonchalant became like a personality trait. It became like something that people are proud of. They are admitting that they're nonchalant. I just find that funny. It came to a point where it has become an excuse, a personality trait lah. Oh, I'm just nonchalant. I'm just a mysterious guy. I'm just a mysterious girl. I guess if it works for you, it works for you. Go for you. But it's not for me. And it's getting really annoying. Especially in a setting like dating apps, where being closed off, being mysterious, being nonchalant would not help either of us. Does that make sense? With them being like this, some of them, disclaimer, again, I will constantly mention the disclaimer because I don't want people to take this the wrong way. Again, I'm speaking from experience. Anyways, so with this thing going on, being mysterious, being nonchalant, putting zero effort into conversations in dating apps, it makes you look like you have no personality. Are you nonchalant, or do you just not have a personality? What are your interests? What are your hobbies? For example, I'm not saying that I have the greatest personality or whatever, but I have my own thing. I'd like to believe, you know. So, for example, if someone were like, again, in dating apps, so if like a conversation came up about what I would do in my free time, I could go on and on about my hobbies. I can talk about the books I read. I can talk about my journals. I can talk about my writing process. I can even talk about my work because my work involves writing. Wait, speaking of work, hold on. My work involves writing and I like writing, so I can go on and on about it. But when you act mysterious or nonchalant, how am I supposed to spark the conversation? How are we gonna continue this conversation that eventually leads to like you telling me about your interests or your hobbies or just anything about you. It doesn't have to be like, oh, how you doing? Where are you from? Where do you work? At the start of the conversation, it can be like that lah, just to get the conversation going. But if it's just like that, then why are we wasting each other's time? Like the conversation I told y'all earlier about, he did not ask me like, where are you from? Like I did. He just told me where he was from, and I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then he just replied, yeah. Obviously, I would not make a fool out of myself and respond to that, yeah. So the conversation dies there. Then fast forward the next day, tomorrow, he texts again, or I text again, saying, hi, is it gonna be the same? Oh, what are you doing? How are you doing? Oh, I'm working. Oh, I'm in class. How do I move forward from that? I haven't had a talking stage in such a long time. Back then, I guess I just had a lot of free time and I had so much energy. I was willing to put more effort into conversations compared to them. After one talking stage ends, another one starts. But right now, I absolutely have zero energy and zero tolerance. So I haven't had a talking stage in such a long time. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I don't know. But what I know is I don't waste my energy. I don't waste my time. I don't waste people's time. I don't want people to waste my time. Maybe I can't 100% blame it on them. Like I said, if I did put more effort than them, then yeah, the conversation might go somewhere. But how's that fair for me? Why do I have to lead the conversation? Don't some of y'all talk about, again, not trying to spark like gender wars or whatever, but like don't like some of y'all talk about wanting to take lead or whatever. Why are you not leading this conversation? I'm just asking. And again, not all men, I guess. Ew. The phrase does not sound right to me. But yeah, disclaimer, some of these men, at least the men that I experience and on dating apps. Men in real life, yeah, they could be different. Speaking of real life, you would think that this issue is just online. But when I start to meet the men there, or I start to meet some of the men, the issue continues. It's not the fact that they don't put in the conversation. It's more like now I get to see the zero personality face to face. And you can tell because like I said, I am a yapper at heart. I can talk about anything and everything. When you come across with someone that you can just tell has no personality, it just feels icky. Does that make sense? Most of the things that I'm saying right now doesn't make sense. A few years back, when I had so much energy, I met this man. To be fair, we did not talk much in text. He just said like, hey, do you want to meet? And I agreed. Like I said, I had so much energy back then. We met. And for those of you who don't know, I wouldn't say like I'm not like a nightlife kind of gal. I just don't like to go to like crowded places unnecessarily. I've had friends in uni, they put their best effort to drag me into like clubs and whatever. I was just not interested. Mostly because, maybe I'm not gonna say it, but like anyways, yeah, I wasn't interested. I don't drink, so I don't see the point of going. I mean, I could go and not drink, but then I would be surrounded by people who drink, which you do you, but it wouldn't be fun for me, I assume. But yeah, I'm just not that kind of gal. And if you are, good for you. My hobbies are all of my hobbies are just indoors. One more thing, I, however, do not look like the type of person who has indoor hobbies, if that makes sense. This is just sidetrack a bit lah. Some men would initiate conversations with me by assuming I drink alcohol, by assuming I go to clubs, by assuming that I take recreational drugs. Which again, there's nothing wrong with doing any of these. Like, you do you. Somehow I look like the type of person who would do all those. Yeah, that's just a sidetrack topic. Me and the guy, we were having that conversation about going to clubs, drinking alcohol, blah blah blah. I wouldn't mind talking about it. Everyone has their own like preferences and opinions, so I didn't mind talking about it. But He told me that going to clubs could actually help me gain experience, which I guess in a way is true. I wouldn't know, but there was just a tone in the way that he was saying it to me. Oh, you should really like go to clubs and like just see how it is. Like once you're there, it's like a different experience. It could be helpful for you instead of just not leaving your house. Or it didn't sit right with me, because what do you mean that staying home is a bad thing? I guess at a certain point it can be, but what do you mean I have to go to the club and it would be good for me? I could just leave my house and like go somewhere else. Why does it have to be a club? That's when I realized, is that your only personality? Trying to justify or trying to recruit people to go to clubs? If this conversation was brought up even slightly in text, I wouldn't have met him. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm trying to emphasize on there's nothing wrong with being a nightlife person, but there's also nothing wrong with not wanting to be a nightlife person. And it's just not that. There's also another guy. He was actually the last person that I ever met online, which was 2 years ago. Because after meeting him, it was like a wake-up call. I really felt like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to keep going out with the wrong guys. This guy, oh, he was a lot. He was actually traumatizing. I'm not even gonna touch on the fact that he was late, he was rude, he was condescending. I'm not even gonna touch on that. I had an issue with my card. So I had 2 debit cards. So I had an issue with one of it. Mind you, with the conversation that we had, I expected him not to pay. But then I had an issue, and then I asked him, hey, could you pay first and I would pay you back? And then he was like, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to use my second debit card and you pay me back. So I used my second debit card and I asked him to pay me back immediately. And he did not even pay the taxes. Logically, we would have to split the taxes as well. But no, he didn't do that. He just paid for his damn food. My God, if I ever see that man again, I would slap him in the face. Anyways, the conversation that we had that made me realize, like, you know what, he's not going to pay for this date. He told me that if we don't work, would we really be homeless? He asked me that because we were talking about like our jobs and stuff. So he said, like, if we don't work, would we really be homeless? And then I said, yeah. Who would pay my rent? Oh, your parents? But my parents are old. I can't expect them to work and give me money. How old are your parents? Oh, my parents are in their 60s. Oh, that's not old. They can still work and pay for you. What kind of person has this mentality? Mind you, he was my age. So he was 24 back then. Yeah, 24 is still young, I know. But at least at 24, I wasn't that stupid. What do you mean? What do you mean if we don't work, would we really end up homeless? Girl, yes. That's when I realized, like, oh, I'm really done. I'm not gonna meet any men, at least not the wrong ones. Thankfully, my friend called me and asked where I was because he wanted to hang out. And I immediately said, oh my God, please come pick me up. Yeah, so I went out with my friend afterwards, and coming home, processing all that, I cried. The amount of times I cried after coming back from a date because of how horrible it was insane. But anyways, that's not the story for today. The story is, why are some men so boring? With the lack of personality, I feel with the lack of personality, lack of interest, lack of exposure to other people, you have these types of mindset, these types of personality trait. Oh my God, thinking about it, it makes me speechless. I know that the stereotype is that men aren't supposed to express themselves. The stereotype, that has always been the stereotype. And I'm not gonna point fingers on whose fault is that. So it made me wonder, is that why some men choose to become mysterious, choose to become nonchalant? It really makes me wonder, like, are you afraid of opening up, or are you afraid of being too much, or are you just boring, you know? But then again, putting an effort into a conversation, I feel like that's the bare minimum. Is there a stereotype against that? I don't know. There was also this one time I also cried after that date. Oh my god, it's hilarious. So there was this one time the thing about dating apps, it's unpredictable lah. That's all I could say. So there was this one time I was talking to this guy, and he was okay in chat. I mean, okay enough for me to go and see him. He picked me up with zero planning on where to take me, but like not his fault lah, I guess, because like it was a last minute thing. He decided to bring me to a place where there was a live band, which is not wrong, but it's the first time I'm seeing you. I would like to get to know you, but I can barely hear anything with the live band playing. That's not all. For like the first, I would say 15 minutes since we sat down, he was on his phone, and it was safe to say like the rest of the date, it was just a lot of awkward pauses. Mind you, I paid for that date. Oh my god. I used to be so stupid, but that's a different story. Is it just me? Am I just meeting this type of men? Am I attracting this type of men? Maybe I can be boring lah sometimes. Maybe, I don't know. But like, I haven't had anyone tell me that before. Some conversations, like if they don't put an effort, I would straight up ask, are you interested or not in talking to me? I would like straight up ask. Tengok lah, it depends on the conversation. If it's not worth it, then I won't ask. But if I feel like there's a chance to like pull the personality out of him, then I would ask. But no one has ever asked me that, and I don't know, it's because they genuinely don't care, or I am not as boring. Oh, the date was horrible. Anyways, I don't think it's a big deal lah. I don't think it's that serious actually. It's not about, I think lah personally, it's not about being emotionally distant or like succumbing to stereotypes. I don't think it's that serious. I just generally think that these men are lazy. Because again, what are your intentions on being here? If it's just something casually, I'm sure, why would they put an effort? I'm just here casually. Like, why should I know where you stay? Why should I know where you're from? I'm not going to be talking to you in 2 weeks. It's just about like why you're here, and are you just lazy? At the end of the day, dating apps are not the best place to look for someone. Over the years, it has changed so much. I would know, unfortunately. And I've changed as a person who uses dating apps. I've changed my approach, my mindset, my mentality towards dating apps. But the whole reason of this video is just being annoyed lah. As much as it's not the best place to look for someone, I somehow constantly hear successful stories, couples getting married, couples who met on dating apps getting married, and not just strangers, my own friends. Like, y'all, are we even using the same app? What do you mean some of y'all are married and you met them like on the same app I'm using? As much as it's not the right place to look for someone, a part of me still feels like it could happen to me. But then again, I wouldn't know any other way. I'm not the meet cute type of person. I rarely go out of my house. I work from home. There is absolutely no way of me casually meeting a guy other than online. So that being said, these are only based on my experiences over the years of being on dating apps. Obviously, not every man there are boring. I've met people with great personalities, great conversational skills, with interests, hobbies, passions. So yeah, not every man there, just most of them, I would say. Not just during text, but even when I meet them face to face. What can I conclude from this video? I guess I can conclude with my disclaimer. No, because I don't want people to take this the wrong way. Again, this is not some sort of a dispute I'm trying to trigger, but it's genuinely upsetting when I see other people, I see my friends, how their partners treat them. It's so refreshing. It's so like eye-opening. These men do exist, you know? But on dating apps, again, I know it's not the best place. It's just the complete opposite. If you are as boring as a houseplant at the start of a conversation, how do we progress from that? I'm not trying to offend anyone, and I apologized if I did. And if y'all disagree with whatever I said, or if y'all have like a different opinion, feel free to comment. And is this video educational? I don't know. Like I said, it's just feeling annoyed. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope this was interesting enough. And low-key, it was nice to talk about. It was very fun to talk about. So thank you for watching. See you in the next video.